Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochatal. The wave of exploding pagers across Lebanon has awed security agencies across the world. This extraordinary move to hit the militants of Hezbollah has all the hallmarks of Mossad. It's a different matter that this is not the first time that Israel has done this kind of operation. From hunting down the Nazis who exterminated Jews in the gas chambers, to the killers of the Israeli athletes in the Munich Olympics, to neutralizing its enemies at Entebbe, and no matter where they try and hide, Israel will hit. The recent assassination of the Hamas leaders in Tehran showed how Israel could reach out in enemy countries and hit their targets. That is the most important thing. How do they go about locating the targets and then eliminating them is a game of technology. And Israel has perfected this art. As a nation, Israel always faced a crisis of existence. Surrounded by hostile neighbors, Israel has learnt the art of survival. From the Six-Day War, where they had to square off against the neighbors, including Egypt and Jordan, and yet emerge victorious. Now Israel faces a whole lot of enemies, from Iran to the Houthis, to the Lebanese, and of course in Gaza, the Hamas. But let us go back to November 2023, when Israel used its Arrow 3 long-range air defense system for the first time. Why I'm mentioning this is because of the technology aspect of it. How technology and the Israeli army are interconnected. When the Yemen-based Houthis fired rockets toward the southern Israel region, in the name of religious camaraderie with the Hamas and Iran, the Israelis were prepared, having started to develop the state-of-the-art defense system way back in the 1980s. Meanwhile, Iron Dome, which also has been developed by an Israeli company, has been protecting Israelis from short-range rockets fired with increasing frequency from Lebanon and Gaza. Reports also say that Israel has accelerated the development of Iron Beam, another revolutionary air defense system that would use laser technology to bring down incoming drones and rockets. Now, with this move in Lebanon, Israel has gone after low-tech devices by targeting pagers and walkie-talkies. Israel actually has said that a new era of war was beginning on Wednesday, tacitly acknowledging its role in the twin attacks targeting Hezbollah. That may have pushed back the Middle East back to the brink of a wider conflict, but then so be it. Almost 24 hours after the explosions targeting pagers of Hezbollah members, which killed multiple people, injuring more than 2,800 and killing about 14 of them, Lebanon was rocked by more deadly blasts as walkie-talkies detonated in Beirut and south of the country, just as the funerals for those who were killed in the pager blast were taking place. Reports say at least 20 people were killed and more than 450 injured in the explosions of the walkie-talkies. Now, the question is, where next? What is waiting to explode? In fact, after declining to comment on the blast, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant appeared in reference to the attacks on Wednesday at the Ramat David Air Force Base in northern Israel. And he said these words: "We are at the beginning of a new era in this war, and we need to adapt ourselves." In fact, Gallant even praised the excellent achievements of the Israeli Defense Forces, together with the country's intelligence agency, Shin Bet, security agency, and the intelligence agency, Mossad. An Israeli source, of course, we all know that the pager movement happened, use it or lose it, when it believed that Hezbollah discovered that there is something in some of the pagers. And Israel had to act really fast and put the pagers to good use by sending out a message and exploding them across the country and even sometimes outside it, hitting even the Iranian ambassador in Lebanon. Imagine, why was he carrying a pager of Hezbollah is a question that he needs to answer. In fact, Israel wants to ensure its safe return of its residents from the communities along the border with Lebanon to their homes. And that's exactly why this tit-for-tat exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah is taking place. In fact, we saw that thousands of people had been displaced in southern Lebanon and northern Israel. Now, with the bombings that are taking place, the pager bombing, Netanyahu government is on a stronger foot. And now, for the first time, this has been made an official war goal. In fact, IDF is said to be moving its elite 98th Division from Gaza to the northern Israel because their job in Gaza is done. The center of gravity is moving to the north, it is said. And that is, they're diverting forces, that the Israeli Defense Forces are diverting forces, resources, and energy to the north to finish off Hezbollah once for all. They have finished off Hamas, now Hezbollah, and maybe they'll go after the Houthis on another day. In fact, the walkie-talkie explosion that happened has shaken up Hezbollah because the pages were kind of, got rid of. Then the walkie-talkies exploded. Now, where did Israel, what else has Israel penetrated? That is what people are asking. Tomorrow, will the laptops go off? Will the watches go off? What else will go off? In fact, that is what happened at those funerals, which are, absolute chaos. As the security guys who were answering on the walkie-talkie, suddenly it exploded in their faces. And even those who were injured in the earlier pager blast, had many of them, as we know when we were using pagers, used to keep it in the belt, tag it onto the belt, and it exploded there. And we know what happens if it explodes there. All the screaming and shouting, and we all saw that, and men running with having dropped the explosive devices, covered in blood and all that. And this is what the new war is all about, technology. And there are no better people in this world who can use technology with absolute intelligence that Israel has, Mossad or Shin Bet. In fact, the Lebanese don't even know what hit them. That is a fact. Because even homes have gone up in fires, cars have gone exploded. Where is it going to stop? Hania's killing in Tehran, what we saw, was one part of it. But then that also was an excellent strike because they knew where he would be, at what time he would be, and which place he would be, and they hit. And nobody knows how better to do that than Israel. In fact, the walkie-talkies, according to, we saw the earlier pages supposed to have come from Taiwan. Taiwan denied it, all that stuff. But this particular one, the walkie-talkie, said to be a discontinued model of the Japanese firm ICOM. In fact, the ICV-82 devices were not supplied by a recognized agent and were not officially licensed, and therefore not vetted by the security forces. That's a major, major lapse by the Lebanese security forces. And this will send tremors down the shivering down the Israelis. In fact, have made a point that the kind of work they can do, the Israelis can do, will send down a shiver down the spine of the Iranians, the Houthis, and just about any other terror groups. In fact, according to the report, according to the model which exploded the walkie-talkie, ICOM actually had discontinued that a decade ago. The question is, where did it come? Who shipped it to Lebanon? Who checked it? Maybe it's counterfeit. God only knows. But whoever did it did an amazing job. Nobody could have dreamt. The Lebanese could have never dreamt it. The Hezbollah could have never dreamt it that it would happen to them. But today, everything is exploited. Everything is being taken care of. As they say, everything is fair in love and war. In fact, the pagers had a mysterious supply chain stretching from Taiwan to Hungary. In fact, what we saw even was the New York Times reported that the Israelis hid the explosive inside a batch of pagers ordered from a Taiwanese manufacturer. We know the company's name has been going around, Gold Apollo, and was destined for Hezbollah. Of course, Gold Apollo denied that they had anything to do with it. They said that model was being made by somebody in Budapest, and when they went to Budapest, they found a name board there. That's it. And nobody makes anything there. Then how did this land up? Obviously, the pagers were actually manufactured by the Israelis themselves. Then that is what the main thing is. Because if Budapest-based registered distributor didn't make it, who made those pages? And this is exactly the point. That Israelis are good at penetrating right into the heart of it. Be it Iran, be it Lebanon, or be it, as Idi Amin would say, even in Kampala, when that historic hijacking took place and they rescued all the hostages except 2, way back in the 80s. The twin attacks in Lebanon risk further escalating the tensions in the region, and already we know that. But Israel is now preparing for an all-out war. They know they had a miserable intelligence failure when it happened, when the citizens were hijacked, were taken away, were kidnapped on July last year. That will not happen again. In fact, everybody is urging kind of restraint from the US to the United Nations to European Union. But Israel has a logic. we will not listen to anybody. In fact, the Lebanese foreign minister, Abdullah Abu Habib, fears that there will be consecutive attacks that are happening one after another is an introduction to the war that is coming up. And he himself doesn't know where it is going to end and where it's going to start. It's a scary moment, he said. We are coming to the war because we don't know what a war is now. What kind of war is being fought? The United States, well, they are urging restraint, but they are also kind of awed by the Israelis. If the Israelis ever tell them they're doing something like this, I doubt anything there. In fact, what is happening now is that Israel is disrupting Hezbollah's communication network, because we all know that an army that works with two places. One is, of course, you need to take care of the stomach, which is feed them and give them the weapons. And second, most important, keep the communication lines open. But in this case, the commanders cannot be now communicating with their people down the line. They stopped the mobile phone usage long back. They were using pagers. Now the pagers have gone. If they say, okay, we will use walkie-talkies, which have a limited area anyway, but even that is gone now. The entire chain of command is broken down. And if Israel hits now, in the next 24 to 48 hours, the Lebanese won't have a backup system. And that's exactly what Israel has calculated. And if you know the way the elite forces are being moved up north, something big is coming up in the next 48 hours. Let's see what happens. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.